Gentlemen, the viewers of Topics of the Town News, and welcome to the January 9th. We're into 2025. This is like 20-some years that we've been doing this, 25 years. So, welcome to the report. I'm Mark Zuberek as your host, with Tony Betancourt, our resident commentator. He's been involved with the show for a long time. And we have a special guest today, William Coswan, Beverly Airport Commissioner for the community of Danvers.
Yes, sir.
He's the only one that's live and kicking at the moment. There's another member that was on the board, and he's resigned. But for some reason, I don't know if we can even talk to him because he's too busy doing town work. So, and today I am trying a new method of reviewing the information that I've prepared. And for your information, I'm using a tablet.
Yes.
And that's my technical experience. The agenda and opinions are solely by the Topics of the Town host, our guests, our commentators, and our contributing special guests. So what I want to do is today's quote, if you can put up the quote, I have a special one that I've used before, but I think this is applicable to all of us and an entire community. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any.
I agree with that.
And recently at the Board of Selectmen's meeting and at the Beverly Airport Commissioners meeting and other meetings, people have come out and expressed their views, and they need to do that more often. So this quote comes from Alice Walker, and Alice Walker is a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer with more than 30 literary works under her belt, including her most famous novel, Color Purple. Her writing often explores the crossroads of race and gender, popularly centering the experience of black women. And her quote is, "Activism is my rent for living on this planet." So it's a responsibility that we have to bring forth into our day-to-day existence and be able to express our views, even though sometimes it feels like nobody's listening, but they need to be explored. Today, I have a special guest. If you notice, I have a local dinosaur, which was baked, built, and preserved at my house by my granddaughter, Hannah.
Oh, wow.
And she and her father decorated that, and her mother helped. And what we want to do is we want to use this dinosaur as munchies later on, and we'll just use it up. So
Looks too good to do that.
well,
Keep it
it is good, and here we go with my first mistake. But what I wanted to do is go into some local news, and I brought some news in regard to what happened at the Board of Selectmen's meeting,
Yes.
because we report on that every day. And today I'm wearing my Texas shirt with a Texas emblem, and they call me the cowboy. Well, if that's what they want, that's what I'm wearing. And we need to express our views. Danvers Town Manager's Search Committee continues, and what we have is I don't know if you have that over there, but
Yes. Yes.
I have a list of candidates that have been added to the search committee, and I will dig it up in a moment, but it is finally coming together where Mr. Bennett is taking charge, and it's going to be Mr. Bennett plus Miss Maureen Bernard.
Yes.
And I do not have the rest of the list, but I will find it.
Yes.
And what we have is that it's coming to a point where the search committee is going to become active. We need to get involved. We need to express our views to these committee members, and I will get to them in a
Are they going to
moment.
have open meetings on that or anything like that? Do you know, Mark?
Well, they're really a subcommittee of the
Right.
Board of Selectmen.
So,
However, what they're going to do is they're going to discuss the selection of particular applicants in private, but they will report back to the Board of Selectmen after they come and realign the selection of these individuals that have applied. And then it'll be a public interview process. So it's something that's probably not going to be happening until February or early March. So we do not expect a new town manager to be selected until sometimes April, May at the earliest. And that would be good to have him witness the town meeting and see how it schedules. So that's where we're at. And what I'm going to do, Bill, is my tablet is not working properly. It's shutting itself off.
you got to keep hitting it. That's why.
Well, I don't. I can hit it harder, but I can
just
break
mean,
it too.
What I'm trying to say is, yeah, that's a good.
Well, we'll share this information
Why
here.
don't you just put it in front of you?
No, I have it. I have it right there.
It's not on.
And what I think what we're going to do is some of the items that were brought up during the selectmen's meeting was more on the selection of the town manager, open space development, and the maintenance of the state law authorizing housing expansions by legalizing in-law apartments as a right. Now, that has gone through the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, and they've determined that it's the law, but it's going to be challenged.
What do you mean?
Well, it was appealed that it was not enforceable because that law was making our existing zoning defunct. Basically, they said
So you can you if you want to have an in-law apartment, you can put it in automatic without.
yes, without
You don't have to go in front of the board.
no,
Right now, you have to go in front of the board, and
and they chew you up and
Chew you up.
spit you out.
they want a certain amount of feet, 1 door, 2 doors,
Right.
common entrance, all that stuff. Oh my God, you don't have to go through that baloney anymore.
Well, I don't know. Right now, that
Okay,
it looks
just-
like it's not. You don't have to.
It's common sense. If you own the house, you want to put an in-law in. Why should you have to go through all this baloney? That's what I don't understand.
Because that's what we had in our zoning laws, and that's how we were able to control it, because right now, everyone can put an in-law apartment, which means that all of our single-family homes will become two-family homes.
Basically, yes.
And that's what's happening already, and now this law makes it,
Stamps it.
legitimate.
Okay.
Massive multifamily units already encroach on our town zoning. State laws are being imposed to circumvent our rules. state laws have superseded our town culture and quality of life. Zoning to be discussed at town meeting. Now, I listened to the warrant articles that were presented at the selectmen's meeting after I got home because it takes so long. Well, the people on Pine Street that were addressing the issues of overdevelopment have finally reached to the Board of Selectmen, and Article number 6 was withdrawn without prejudice for the moment because it needs more explanation.
I know. I'm glad they did it that way. It's the first time I've seen something like that happen. That was excellent because the reason being is they ram all the stuff in. I mean, even I've been trying to listen to all this stuff to understand it and stuff like that. Even though I hear it and everything else, I still really don't understand it that well.
Well, you already know that I've attended a special meeting for the residents about the zoning, and one of my suggestions at that meeting was stop everything, educate yourself on what the impact is going to be of what you're proposing, and then follow through. So this is in some respect on that way.
How about the MBTA now? That's a lot of towns are pulling out of that, and we're in that stupid thing. Okay, that's
MBTA, nobody's pulling out. This is another one that the state is dictating. Our legislators have given us a bum steer.
I think so.
And what happens is, you know our legislators in our community.
Sure do.
And what have they done for us lately? They've just expanded the rules.
The MBTA is really doing a number on us, really. I'm telling you, with the character of the town. It's ruining this town, if you ask me. I mean, honestly.
Well, it's already ruined.
I know.
So, the next item...
We got to stop it. We got to stop it.
Next item that I picked up for addressing is there was a indication from the audience about the town management resignations, and specifically the DEI manager that was left the town as soon as the town manager resigned. Selectmen must eliminate this position outright and save the cost of a DEI organization. It may have been up to $300,000 per year.
You think it's that much?
You know what? We'll find out very soon because a resident stood up at the last meeting, and Mr. Bennett, in his wisdom, patted the individual on the back about bringing this up. The point that was brought up is bring back the DEI manager.
No, I don't think we need that, honestly.
And we have had DEI representation through David McKenna and his groups.
And the board, yes.
Yes. And the thing is that DEI was initiated in this town only after the town manager made that point to the Board of Selectmen, and they had no courage to say no.
I know, but it's terrible because even if you start watching right now what's going on in California, they're blaming a lot of this on DEI.
Well,
okay?
DEI is a very complicated issue.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of people that don't know what's going on be put into positions that shouldn't be there.
The problem is that the selection of employees and managers of our town are not based on quality of their experience and their qualifications. They're based on race, creed, and gender. So, I don't know, you have anything to say about that? Or you rather not?
I'd rather not.
All right, then you rather not.
I know,
That's
it's a tough
okay.
situation. Back in the old days, remember, you used to put family members in here and there. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what they used to do. And that wasn't too good of an idea also.
But that's the nature of the beast.
Yes.
The resignations have been extensive. We have had resignations for various reasons, from the DPW director to the town water department DPW director. Possible new hires by the current town manager were nixed, which I was part of that announcement because the town manager left it to the newspapers to announce that he was going to replace some of these management positions. And we do not reflect on that type of management because we need some changes in this town.
We do. And another thing, my honest opinion, the town's running pretty well without what we've got so far. So,
You know, there's a saying that as long as the legislature or the managers are away, the organizations that they manage runs much better because the people that are in place know what to do and they do it on their own without direction.
I think you
So-
might be right.
So they're responsible for their own existence.
So it goes to ask you, do we have to fill those positions? That's the question.
Well, that we have to be aware of what is going to be proposed in this budget because the selectmen do not have the courage to say no. We have said it many times, I know I have, that those positions should be eliminated because all they do is rob the rest of the budget of their funding that we provide as taxpayers.
Right now, you figure that's quite a bit of money, basically. I mean, it's got to be $500,000 at least.
Well, it could be,
Even more.
but we'll see.
Right.
I will, we need to explore that a little bit
Well,
more.
it's true. I mean, it's just...
Town Charter Review Committee continues.
Yes.
I have neglected going to those
Yes.
committees, but I believe that we need to start that all over again. And the other one is the school committee. What have you heard about what's going on with the schools in this town? Nothing.
No.
And we need to address the issues because the audience, the residents, taxpayers need to know. And they don't address that anymore. So, what I want to do next is the town charter is going on. We need to get involved. School system performance. The issues that we have had on the MCAS status, we don't know where that is anymore. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask Mr. Dan Bauer, our superintendent, and he's too busy to address some of these issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with interview at his office. Maybe that'll get him moving. Measurement and improvement programs. What are we doing? Systemic academic issues with curriculum. Curriculum is being dictated by DESE, which is the Department of Education for the state of Massachusetts. Why do we need the 7 curriculum directors that we have hired, and they're developing curriculum that is been provided by the Department of Education?
Education has changed a lot since we went to school.
Education has dumbed down to the point where
There's no common sense in it anymore, if you ask
our
me.
students are lacking the common sense. You're
Yes.
right. Essex Tech relationship. That's another one that we've been following, but it doesn't seem to be an issue this year. For some reason, until the budget comes out, that's when we're going to get into.
Do we know if the budget's going to change? I'm curious.
Of course, we can have the budget from the Essex Tech available to us because they're going to be looking at it right now in January, February, and they will be coming around to the towns to secure their existence because we pay for the students that go to the school.
So they're on a business cycle, so it's getting...
They're same as our school system,
Okay.
no different. They
Okay.
get funding from the town, and then they get funding from the state
Okay.
for the particular students. You know what I am getting hungry. I think it's time to take a bite of
I
the
don't know.
dinosaur.
I don't know about that.
I'm gonna go.
Looks
Hannah,
Here he goes.
here's the tail.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know, man. You really want to break it? I got a piece right here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, just give me a piece.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, God.
Oh, that feels much better.
Oh, yeah.
Hannah, thank you for the dinosaur. The tail is gone now, so we're gonna take it out piece by piece.
Okay.
So, now what we want to do is, I just want to get into
Too bad we
the.
couldn't do that to the budget.
Well, yes, you can.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's no willpower to do that to the budget because everybody's happy with what they have. And if you notice, the budget never goes down.
No,
Of course.
no.
It always increases.
And they have
And-
all this buildings and stuff like that, more tax money coming in, and still going up.
For the next episode of the show, I am going to ask Mr. Connolly for a itemized list of what has been reversed back to the town on free cash. Free cash is a misnomer, but this is the leftover from the over budgeting that they do every year.
It's about $6 million a year, isn't it?
It has been. I don't know what it is this year because this year we have a situation where the budget is influenced by government funding from the state and from the federal, funding that has been provided with the $36 trillion overrun on our, federal budget. So, alternative school, that's another thing. There's a charter school coming.
Yes.
There
Char-
it is.
Charter.
haven't seen
Well, see, this is where you can learn a few things.
Oh, my goodness. I guess so.
The charter school is coming down to
Where Old Onion Town is.
across from the bowling alley,
Where Onion Town is.
Onion Town Restaurant.
They're going to build it there.
Oh, okay.
And it's a science engineering type charter school.
They haven't started digging anything yet. I know
No.
that.
They got their permits, I believe.
Okay.
But I think they're waiting for the funding and cooperation from the state because it's going to be funded through.
The state?
Well, part of it is going to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's that, or we expand our schools in Danvers. Our schools in Danvers have reached capacity.
Yes.
And one of the reasons for the capacity is illegal immigration. The thing is that nobody wants to talk about. How is this program integrated into our school system? Numbers and grade split in Danvers. What effect does this have on the school budget? We
Big
don't
effect.
know that. We had the, what do you call it? The issue about 3 years ago where we had students that were homeless
Yes.
and they were residing in Danvers, and that funding, well, they got compensated for some of it through the state because our legislators didn't, provide that funding, and it was done after a while. What amount
But
does
they
the
still
state-
lost out. They lost out on the taxes from the rooms because the state doesn't pay that, I don't think.
Absolutely, and they also lost out on the transportation costs.
Yes.
What are the total impacts for Danvers? Nobody ever wants to talk about that.
They don't want to talk about it because if they talk about it, everybody's going to go crazy.
Well, that's part of the problem. Okay. Charter schools are coming, and we need to get ready for that. Currently, the next segment, which is, hey, we're right on
You're
time.
right on schedule. You're doing real well.
Right on
Yes, mate.
time here.
You're doing real well.
I'm going to have to recharge my tablet because I lost it again. So my print is working out, Bill. And that's your print.
Yeah.
Current BVY hangar explanation. What I like to do is start by a letter that we received that's dated December 23rd, Christmas present,
Okay.
from the Department of Environmental Protection.
Wow.
And this is environmental analyst Kyle Lally, who wrote the letter organizing our visit at the Beverly Airport West Side on the Danvers side. And this is in regard to the flight level aviation hangar that is planned or has been permitted and planned by Flight Level Aviation. The hangar itself is 300 feet long, 147 feet wide, and 45 feet high, I believe. So we have a clip that I think if we can show that
The one you have, the clip is from.
from the meeting,
Okay.
because I was at the meeting and you were at the meeting.
Yes.
Well, all three of us were
Yes.
at the meeting, and the meeting was held as a evaluation by the DEP of the site conditions in regard to wetlands and the drainage.
And you said the hole was full where they're going to build it too. It had water in it.
Well, yeah, I know that. That's what I have it on film.
I mean,
The thing-
that's a no-go right there, if you ask me.
Well, the thing is that I need to be very careful of what I present, because Mr. Kyle Lally, who is a state employee, requested that he be not televised,
Right.
and I respect that. The thing is that he is a a state employee. He gets paid by us taxpayers, and he should be available on camera to respond to the questions. Now, the questions are very clear, and we did do a walk down. He permitted at least 3 members from the audience to accompany the walk down. In the original development, it was only 1 employee,
Yes.
and that was dictated by the Beverly Airport manager and Flight Level Aviation.
They don't want us knowing anything.
What are they hiding?
Well, that's the problem.
That's the problem. So, the letter was received on December 23rd, and the walk down was scheduled for January 3rd. Coldest day of the month, and windy and everything else. So, if we can just show the clip, Ben, that'll be great. But I will talk over it because we were restricted on what we can show.
Exactly.
And I respect that.
Yeah. So you.
But we were all there.
Right. Yes,
We
were.
can speak to it as we are looking at this.
You saw it. One
clip.
guy just saw it on patch, and he happened to show up. I mean, that was unbelievable.
That's right. So, Ben, if we can, I don't know. This is January 3rd,
Third, yeah.
2025.
Right.
And we are stationed outside the gate at the west side of the Beverly Airport, and we're looking at the entrance gate, and this is a public parking lot, so we are permitted to film here. And I want to make sure that we get a good representation of what's going on this site. This is But look
Used
at
to
the
be
hangar
shelter
that's
right there.
already there. This is hangar number 4. And that is in renovation state right now.
That one's not that old. That one, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not. And
two other
I have the specific information of its location, and that's hangar number 4. And our new hangar is coming along the other side of the site. So if we can move that along a little bit. This is the outside of
Right.
the parking lot.
Of Old Burley.
This is the buffer zone between Old Burley and the parking lot itself. But if you notice, there we go.
There you go. That was a new hangar too.
The jets are sitting right there, and they were revving up when we were filming. And I don't know if we can get the sound on that, but that's okay. But the hangars are already there, but they're smaller and they're well hidden. Look at that. They're the jets that fly over our head every
No, those are
day.
small ones. They've got 20 passenger ones there. I'm
That's
telling
right.
you.
And the thing is that we did do the walk down. Many people showed up. And I have a summary that I prepared of the meeting. And meeting notes are being issued to all the participants. One of the participants, what is the reason for Beverly Airport hangar construction and runway expansion? The Beverly Airport jet hangar expansion and expanded jet traffic continues without relief. This was placed in the patch as a advance notification of the meeting. The Danvers neighbors have been pursuing an environmental impact report from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection as a means of stopping the private jet expansion threatening our town. On December 23rd, like I noticed, there was a letter issued, and we did conduct. And why don't you give us your assessment of what the meeting consisted of?
Okay, well, allow me just to introduce myself here first. My name is Bill Kosowan. I live at 7 Fairview Street here in Danvers. I also own 135 Sylvan Street. Above and beyond that, I'm an engineer with aviation specials. I've worked in the air industry, and I've also worked for the government, specifically the FAA, United States Air Force. Present, I'm a commissioner to the Airport Commission. I've been there about 18 months, but previous to that, I've been an envoy for my flying club, the North Shore Aero Club, and also I'm the AOPA volunteer representative for the airport since about the year 2000. Switching over to the meeting we had the other day on Friday, we had 20 people there. I would first like to talk about representation. Meeting was called to my attention. I made a point to be there. I'm sure Aaron Henry was also notified. I called Sally Kearns' office, our state rep. I called Joan Lovely's office, state senator, and I also called Seth Moulton's office, who was our federal representative. And I was the only representative there for the Danvers people. As Mark was saying, the meeting was focusing in on an appeal on the environmental assessment that was submitted and lost or something like that. And
It was misplaced.
better still,
That's right.
yeah.
A lot
For
of things
3
get
months.
misplaced.
Okay. Well, the gist of it is that, in my humble opinion, the town of Danvers and its people, its residents, my constituents, we're a nuisance, we're an inconvenience, we get in the way of progress. And to me, it's completely untenable, or unconscionable rather, that here is an airport that is functioning, 37% of that airport is in Danvers, and we're just shooting it off. And it's good that we make the point to be out there. It's good that people are challenging things. The one thing I'll say now, and I've said at the selectmen meeting the other night, is that I consider the current commission to be good people. However, the issues they're being addressed now date back 6 or 7 years, and they're just carrying forward what they inherited. But one thing I've observed is that my constituents, you being the primary one, show up at every meeting, submit a written report or a written comment or a written complaint. It is acknowledged, but to the best of my knowledge, I've yet to see any of them answered.
It goes into the round file.
All right. And somehow the airport commissioner fails to realize that his job is to respond to those public comments. So that's the short of the meeting. Back to you, Mark.
The problem is that the airport commissioners do not believe that they have any authority to respond to the residents of Danvers. Danvers is a part of the airport. It has 170 acres out of the 450 some acres of the airport located in the town of Danvers. The zoning has been wiped out because they don't want, the FAA doesn't want any inference to the developments at the airport, because they believe that that land belongs to the airport and not to the town of Danvers. In 1997, we have negotiated, and I was on the Board of Selectmen at that time, a representation of our residents after the massive destruction and cutting of trees that has happened in our neighborhood on Danvers land and even on private property. So at that time, Mayor Scanlon and Wayne Markey came to a agreement to increase the number of representatives to the airport commission to 2. Because prior to that, all we had is 1 representative, and it was an employee of the town who was the director of planning or something like that. At that time, that's quieted down all of the issues that were happening because everybody thought that was going to improve the quality of responses from the airport. Well, for a while, it did pretty well. They had a noise abatement policy. They had a good neighbor policy. The commissioners at that time were totally different from what we have right now. They cared about the airport, but they also cared about Danvers residents. And you, at that time, were even part of the organization flying at that time. But at that time, the airport was a recreational airport.
Yes.
I used to call it a Sleepy Hollow.
The Sleepy Hollow is a good representation, but the thing is, since 2019, when our former manager of the airport, and I won't even mention her name, but that was destroyed. The relationship was totally destroyed because the airport and the airport commissioners at that time wanted the airport to become a regional transit point.
Mini Logan Airport.
And one of the things that we have at the end of our presentation is an article about the Danvers Eyes Greater Voice on Beverly Airport Commission. And that's exactly what this whole thing is about. But one of our, whoop,
There you go.
here we go, and it says, coming soon, BVY to Nantucket. And they hate this when I bring it up every time, because that was the aim of the airport manager and the commission at that time, to make it bigger and better. But they never considered the residents of our community.
Exactly.
So, that is where we are right now. There have been representation at the airport meeting that the Department of Environmental Protection is looking into. I don't know what they can do, but what I have received, and I was promised that at the meeting, is 260 pages of the regulation that this gentleman, Kyle Lally, is going to be reviewing that application against. I don't know how I can even read 260 pages and understand what they're talking about.
Don't ask the city of Beverly to present it to you because you have to give them $500.
Well, that's another issue. That's a different issue. So that's where we're at right now. But we had Salem Evening News showed up at the
Yes,
review. Patch issued my notice in regard to the attendance at the meeting.
It was only up for a couple of days, though. It's gone. It was done
I
quick.
know it's gone, but that's okay.
Yeah, at least it's got the
At
point
least it showed up.
across. Yes, that's a
Um,
plus.
But there's no other source except us. We may have to go to Channel 7 or Channel 5 and really bring this thing up, but we need maybe 50 people to go up to the airport with signs saying, "Stop the expansion." And that has been noted to many people, but I don't have the ability to organize them. Maybe we need to do that as a group.
No, I agree with that.
And
People are paying attention. I mean, I got some calls. One guy wanted to get someone to get an attorney, but I don't know if that's the case, honestly, you know?
the reason that the airport was well attended, that meeting was well attended, and even by our building inspector,
Yes.
our planning department,
Yes.
our conservation commission,
Yes.
and our manager of the airport itself, and some of the other Beverly commissioners. Kyle was the only one there.
That's all they want. They don't want anymore.
Well, I don't know who's in charge of the airport anymore. I mean, it seems like.
If I may.
Yes, you may.
Tell us.
Okay, let me jump in there. All right. Where to begin this story? All right, several months ago, I was very frustrated, and I called for an executive meeting with the town manager and also Mr. Bennett, who was the leader of the selectmen at the time. Okay, I was pretty upset, and I was expressing my concerns and how things were a blind eye was being turned. The most illuminating point that I got out of that was the town manager said to me, he says, "Well, how many constituents do you represent?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, at the worst case, maybe 200. And he goes, 200 compared to what? And he didn't finish the sentence, but basically what he was saying is that the airport neighbors are less than 1%, and it wasn't worth his political capital to get involved. Besides, he's a development kind of guy. However, he did say, if it was up to him, that he would do away with the airport on the Danvers side and turn it into a higher and better usage of the land. So I thought that was an interesting thing. Now, well, Mr. Batha turned a blind eye to what was going on at the airport. That had allowed the previous airport manager to further her career. All right. The bigger picture here is that over the last number of years, 400 public use airports across the country have closed. Communities have just had their fill, and they've shut them down. All right. At the same time, aviation, the demand for aviation is skyrocketing. So you have more aircraft competing for fewer airports. The previous airport manager came here from Pittsfield, a real Sleepy Hollow, came here, saw the opportunity that allowed her to basically run roughshod over the town of Danvers. We had no representation. We had taxation without representation at that point in time, which is one of my real trick-off buttons there. And she set a number of things into motion, which brings us to today. And the current commission, is a group of very good people. I like each and every single one of them. However, they're just carrying forward what they inherited. So they've just got their blinders on, and we're marching forward, and this is it. And the thing being is, Danvers is completely out of the consideration. We're a nuisance. Okay. Let's talk about the selectmen meeting of that just to an extent. Okay. I thought it was interesting that Selectman Mills said that he thought the airport was a nuisance, and he gave his reasons. And basically, it's no one in Danvers is happy, yet it amazes me that no one's trying to do something about it. I have
That's it.
Show's over. Anyway, in my time on the commission, I've asked, where's the charter? Where is anything that states the ownership,
Right.
defines anything, something black on white, an actual binding contract, which is required under statute of frauds, okay? I've asked for it, no one has produced it. All I got was a lot of murmuring off. But to the best of my knowledge, it doesn't exist. As it was alluded to, it was a handshake type thing, strictly verbal. All right. It is unconscionable that we have taxation without representation. All right. People are paying taxes. The town government is turning a blind eye to them. It's not the selectmen. The selectmen are good people. You know, they do a lot. They're very, very busy, okay? But your town manager slot, a town manager rather, in that slot, he just allowed this to happen. So that's the big picture. That's the big picture. So take it back, Mark.
There are various reasons for this happening. But now you know the reason the town manager left. Because he didn't want to accommodate the residents of what's going on. He didn't want to use his political willpower because at the time, back in '97, Wayne Markey was a committed resident of this town. And he extended that
Olive branch?
olive branch. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. However, even at that time, I was not happy with that because that is something that was done on a handshake.
Which
And
I feel is illegal.
And Scanlon and Wayne worked things out for the moment.
May I admit, both of those gentlemen were true professional gentlemen.
Yes. And the thing is that we need to pursue this for the residents because they are being impacted every single day. I can sit at my computer desk in my house and I know when these jets are going to be going over because they go up northwest of my house. And it's Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, Sunday night, and Monday morning. They go in and out because right now, there's only 4, supposedly.
There's more than that, but...
We can't count any more than that
Right.
because they won't let us.
Right.
But the thing is, flight level aviation is only doing what business people want to do. The one thing that they don't want to consider is the residents themselves
No.
because they do not live in the neighborhood.
They don't even live in the state, I don't think.
And you, Tony, and I, and you've been on the board now for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
have been relying on personal capital to get some activity going. They just ignore it.
Well, that's the problem. That's why it's such a big deal. You know, another thing to step on, Mark, is the last meeting we had with when they came in front of the select board, okay, and the airport came and gave an explanation of what was going on. Now, what's sad about that was that I was sitting there with a gentleman, okay, that is he's an
Doesn't
engineer,
matter.
okay,
Doesn't matter, yep.
you know, on the jet planes and all that stuff there. And he told me that all the stuff they were telling the town was a lie, okay? On the size planes and all that stuff that are coming in here, they've already got big planes coming here, but they told me just a Class C, that's what they said, okay? And they didn't give us any definition on what more can go. They asked for it, but till this day, I have a funny feeling we're never going to know. They don't want to tell us anything. That's the problem. They lied to the town, and the town accepted it. It's been like that as far as I can know, as far as I've been going to these meetings and stuff, okay? I get up there, tell the truth, then listen. The other people come and lie, and they get away with it.
I think what has to happen is the only thing that will shape this into a reactionary mode is legal action. And the issue is going to be, what have they done to us and how they can measure this. The problem is that they rely on the FAA.
To hide behind everything.
FAA is telling them what to do. Well, Moulton's office has been listening, at least, but they haven't done a damn thing. And FAA is a federal agency, and the problem is that our elected officials are ignoring us as well. Now, I'll give Sally and Joan credit for
we have to
at
give
least attending some of these
Yes.
meetings.
Yes, I will.
Moulton has sent his delegate.
Yes. The other guy was better. The new guy, I haven't even seen him.
The new guy is a young kid that
Just met him once. That's
Liam.
it.
Liam. Yeah, he's a young gentleman, and he's working for the office in Salem. And I've been to the office many times, and they have young kids working in there trying to resolve constituent issues for Moulton. And I've never seen Moulton in his office. And I've asked for a audience with him. Never happens. So the thing is, we need to demand a resolution of this issue, because the expansion of the airport is proceeding.
Even the
And-
impact study, they haven't even told us about it yet. We asked for it, they didn't even give you an answer if they're going to do it or not going to do it. We don't know anything. And the
Well,
town just lets it sit out there. That's the
Even
problem.
the town meeting, the last
Right.
town meeting, one of the warrant articles was to ask,
Right.
not demand, but ask
Right.
for an environmental impact study. And I personally went through that, and there was a letter that was sent to the Airport Commission by our friend Steve Bartha, who basically ignored us. He says, here's the letter, here's what they want, but who knows what they're going to get. And the letter is not responsive to what the town meeting directed them
If they have
to
nothing to hide, do the test.
That's right. So, I just want to continue this, but there is a very interesting article in the Danvers Eyes Greater Voice on Beverly Airport Commission, and this is in the patch, and people were very angry. Beverly Airport Director talks Danvers noise complaints. People were angry, and they are angry.
Yes.
So I would recommend, I'm going to issue this out to, our circle of individuals. But before we go any further, I want to respond to my quest of identifying the 5 people that were appointed by the Board of Selectmen for the Town Manager Search Committee.
I know 2 out of the.
I do
out of the
too,
5.
but
That's it.
I have a email here from our friend Catherine Ellsworth, who is the town clerk, and she reported to me Arthur Scarmus,
Yes.
Walter Tybert,
Yes.
Connie Doherty,
Is that the lady who used to be on the school committee?
don't know,
See, I was not sure either.
Eric Mitchell,
Don't know him either.
and Stephen Greisdorf. These are the 5 members, in addition to Maureen Bernard and our
Mr. Bennett, and I think
Mr. Bennett.
I think
yes.
Mr. Bean's going to be on there too. I think.
Who?
Mr. Bean.
No,
No, I thought he wanted to be involved.
he wanted to be involved, but we can be involved as much as he can, because we need to participate in the public sessions that they may have. But our influence is through these individuals and Mr. Bennett and Ms. Maureen Bernard.
Okay.
So, I just hope, and one of my comments in our outline here is that I hope Maureen can carry this thing through, because I don't believe the last 10 years ago, there was a search committee,
Yes.
and they found an individual, which worked out for 10 years, but it wasn't what the town needed, or it was something that the town needed, but they do not necessarily correspond to the cultural issues of our town. So we are in a historic environment, but we cannot continue going into this DEI,
Well, that's the thing.
and everything started and began with the thin blue line flag.
Yes, it did.
That's
I
when
believe
the
that. I
town
believe that.
manager failed us.
Yes.
And the thing is that we need to recoup from that
Yes.
by having a reasonable individual selected for the town manager. You may want to apply for a town manager position.
I am giving it consideration.
You should, because that is something that is needed in this town. Somebody that knows and understands the culture of this town itself.
If I may. Okay, my family's been here for 5 generations, over 100 years. And what you were saying just a moment ago is a contradictory vision of what Danvers' agenda is going to be. And that's what happened with Mr. Bartha. Good guy, very professional person, but he took us in the wrong direction, in my opinion.
And that's exactly what I think we need to consider, and we need to respond to the Board of Selectmen that DEI has to stop. We are in the quality and business of individuals that can manage this town, not in their qualifications of DEI responsibility.
But I think it was influenced by a lot of wrong people. That's the problem. My
Well,
honest
that's-
opinion. That was the big problem here. That's the reason being, I'll be honest with you. And it took
That's
us in the
why
wrong
our
direction.
residents need to get involved and keep involved.
Yes.
And we are running out of time,
Yes,
so
we
I
are.
want to thank you, Mr. Kossawan,
Thank you, Mark.
for, I'll see you next week at the commissioners' meeting,
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. But by the way, your granddaughter makes a great gingerbread dinosaur.
Well, then have a bite. Tony, thank you very
No,
much
thank
for
you, Mark,
being
for all
here.
you've done. Believe me, you've been a help completely.
And we will expand our discussion on the budget and the policies that the town management is going under. And I want to continue this discussion, especially in the education section.
And what do you think about the Board of Selectmen on that? I thought they were pretty good. I mean, more or less. But I wish they would have been a little stronger with the airport. My honest opinion.
That's fine. Thank you.